What if I told you that an ancient text wasn't just a collection of stories, but a living blueprint for reality itself? Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical way of looking at the Qur'an, one that suggests the universe actually operates on a hidden law, a kind of divine physics where faith can literally change the world around us.
So let's just jump right in with this. What a powerful starting point. The source material is basically telling us to set aside everything we think we know, to see this text not as a bunch of old stories from the past, but as a dynamic operational system, almost like an algorithm that describes what's happening right now.
And this really gets us to the heart of it all, the central question of this whole explainer. What if, just beyond the laws of gravity and thermodynamics that we all know, there's a whole other set of rules, a kind of divine physics, where elements like fire and water don't just respond to heat and pressure, but to the actual state of a human soul? Okay, so our journey into this hidden law, it starts with an anomaly, a really famous story that seems to just break all the known rules of physics. It's the story of a man who walked into a raging inferno and came out completely unharmed. Now, the crucial thing here is our perspective. We're not looking at this as some one-off miracle. According to this view, the story of the prophet Abraham, or Ibrahim, isn't just a historical event. No, it's a living equation. It's a demonstration of a pattern that exists everywhere all the time. And here it is, right from the source. A direct command is given, and an element, fire, just obeys. It fundamentally changes its very nature, from hot to cool. This is the puzzle we need to solve. How is that even possible? What's the underlying law at work here?
To really get a handle on this, we need to learn the language of this hidden physics. You can think of it like a code built on three core symbolic elements.
So first up, we have fire. But in this system, fire isn't just about combustion. It's a symbol. It represents pride, it represents falsehood, and it represents the trials that come to test the integrity of our soul. It's the force that consumes. Then, as a direct contrast to fire, you have water. Water symbolizes mercy, right? It's the force that cools things down, that cleanses. It represents balance and the flow of time, the very thing that allows for change and for things to be restored.
And finally, there's light. Now, light represents pure truth. It doesn't burn you like fire or wash over you like water. It just reveals. It's knowledge, it's reflection. It's the element that lets us see reality for exactly what it is. Okay, so we've got our three elements: fire, water, and light. But what makes them do anything? What's the catalyst here? Well, according to this framework, it's all driven by one single overriding force, the divine command, or amr in Arabic. This is the creative word of God.
And this just perfectly sums up the nature of that command. It's not a suggestion. It's not a polite request. It is absolute. It's instantaneous. When the command is given, reality literally reconfigures itself to obey. Just be, and it is.
Now that we have the code, fire, water, light, and the command, we can start to see how it runs through all these other stories in the Qur'an. This wasn't a one-time thing with Abraham. It's a recurring pattern, a kind of cosmic recursion.
This table lays it all out so clearly. Let's walk through it. First, you've got Pharaoh. His challenge, his fire, is pride. He denies the light. And the outcome? He's annihilated by water. Okay, next up, Queen Bilqis. Her fire is deception, but, and this is key, she allows it to reflect the light of truth, and that leads to her conversion. And finally, we're back to Ibrahim. His challenge is fire itself, but through his absolute submission, that fire becomes peace and safety. It's the same physics, just with different outcomes based on how the soul responds. So what the source material is arguing here is that these aren't just a bunch of separate, isolated tales. It doesn't matter if it's Pharaoh or Bilqis or Ibrahim, it's the same fundamental pattern repeating itself over and over. It's one cosmic equation, just playing out through different people. And this brings us to a really radical new way of thinking about what a miracle even is. Because if these events are all part of a consistent pattern, then maybe they aren't violations of the law at all.
That's the question we all have, right? Is this just magic? Is it just suspending the natural order for a moment? Well, the framework we're exploring here has a very, very different answer.
And the answer is a hard no. A miracle, in this view, isn't breaking the rules. It's the universe enforcing its deepest, most fundamental rule, the rule that truth has to prevail. The source calls it cosmic load balancing, which is a great way to put it. It's the system correcting itself whenever it gets thrown off by falsehood.
This comparison just nails it. What we would call a miracle, this framework says, is just balance restored. And that famous butterfly effect, where one tiny action can cause a huge outcome, is seen as the divine command rippling through creation to bring everything back to its proper state, back to equilibrium.
All right, so let's bring all of this from the cosmic and the abstract right down to the personal, because the whole point of this framework isn't just to understand these old stories, it's to understand ourselves.
This verse is a really powerful warning, isn't it? It suggests that the common worldview, the reality that most people agree on, is built on assumption and guesswork. It's a challenge to us to unlearn all that inherited noise and start looking at the universe through this lens of divine physics instead.
So this is the big shift in understanding. The Qur'an stops being a history book about things that happened way back when, and it becomes a user manual for the present. It's not just telling stories. It's describing living causality. It's describing the very algorithm that reality uses to function.
And this brings us right back to where we started. The source concludes that the butterfly emerging from the flames, that Ibrahim walking out of the fire, that's not just an ancient legend. It's a metaphor for you. It's what happens every single time you align yourself with this deeper law of truth and trust in what the world of assumption and guesswork tells you is impossible.
And so, we'll leave you with this question to think about. If this cosmic physics is real, then what trial, what impossibility, what fire is waiting for you to walk through and transform into coolness and safety? The answer, according to this framework, isn't about changing the world out there, but about aligning with the truth in here. Thanks for tuning in.